Okay, so let's talk about the idea of multi-programming operating system. What is the idea of using multi-programming? What is multi-programming? The idea of multi-programming is to utilize the CPU as much as possible. Now think about this situation. If the CPU run a process, now when this process waits for input or output from the user, the process needs to wait. So in that time, there is nothing to do in this process, and if the CPU is stuck with this process, now the CPU is idle. The CPU must wait until the user gives input or we are waiting for an output. So for example, for input from the user, we need to wait until we get it. And until then, the process doesn't do anything. So the CPU doesn't do anything. The idea of multi-programming is to keep many processes in the CPU, and the CPU runs a process, and when we get to something that makes the process stop and not utilize the CPU, what can be done is what is called a context switch. Context switch to switch between the stuck process and another process. For example, until the process gets an input, while the process waits, the CPU can change and work on another process until the first process gets its input. It can continue, and then can be done another context switch and get back to the process that now can continue. The idea is to utilize the CPU and to not let the CPU be on an idle mode, not doing anything. The idea is to utilize as much as possible the CPU so we can run multiple programs, not really parallelly, but when a program waits for something, we can use the CPU to work on another program, another process, by utilizing the context switch and moving from one process to another when a process waits for something, so the CPU can continue working, and by that we utilize the CPU, and that's the core idea of the multi-programming operating system, utilizing the CPU by context switching between processes. When a process gets to a stuck position, until he gets back to working, the CPU can work on another process. This is about multi-programming.